Hey everyone, welcome to the 91 Day Business Spotlight Live. I'm your host, Jonathan Mast, and I've got with me today an old friend, Kathey Batey, who I've known for years, but yet we haven't chatted in a long time. We were just chatting pre-show a little bit and realized we haven't probably talked at least a year, maybe a couple of years, Kathey. So good to see you. So happy you were able to join us today and go live. As we mentioned, the 91 Day Business Spotlight Live is all about you and talking about your business. And I know you've got a lot of things you do between being an author and your coaching and your consulting. So if you would, tell us a little bit about what you focus on primarily at Divorce Support Anonymous and anything else that you'd like. Tell us a little bit about your business.
Awesome. Jonathan, thank you for the opportunity to share with your listeners and to be with you again. It is great to see you. And my business, what I do is I work with people going through divorce. I am a court appointed mediator. I'm also a consultant. I do some divorce coaching and I hold support groups. So I have numerous materials, 4 books, and some workbooks that I utilize in working with people. But my goal really is to minimize the damage that divorce causes and to minimize it financially, legally, physically, and spiritually, because it is such a life altering event. It's my goal to how do we minimize that? How do we give empowerment to people going through this process and allow them to have some knowledge instead of being totally bewildered and showing up in an attorney's office and having an attorney guide you? I would much rather you go in with some information and some background. So
And
a
so
media
amazing. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. So I am a mediator, and what that does is it keeps you out of the court system. So you can meet with me as a mediator and your attorneys, with or without your attorneys, and we resolve all of the division of assets, the parenting time, the debts, instead of standing before a judge and a judge looking over your life, scanning over your life, and deciding how your future is going to go. So I love that process because it is so helpful for people. Instead of spending thousands and thousands of dollars going through the court system, how do we minimize again that damage that people are experiencing?
Well, I absolutely love that. And I'm guessing, I don't know, but I'm guessing this is a process that a lot of people that go through divorce don't even know exists. How do you go about educating couples that when, divorce happens and it's not fun, but I've been through it myself. How do you convince and educate people that there are better ways to do it, like with you through the mediation process?
Absolutely. Well, there's really very little risk to try mediation. If you can even minimally communicate with each other and agree on some numbers and your assets and your debts, we can come together and we can lay it out. So there's really minimal risk in attempting this. Now it's voluntary. So if you get into it and say, nope, I want to go have my lawyer fight this out, you can do that. But instead of starting in the lawyer's office, let's start with getting some education. Let's see where we can get some agreement on our own before we go into an attorney's office. So I have a free workbook called How to, well, it's right back here, Seeing Your Attorney for the First Time. I should have grabbed it up here, but it's a free download that gives you some information. It tells you all the documents that you need to get together to take you to your attorney's office. So you go in prepared and you go in with some information. So this is going to shorten the time in your attorney's office and be more efficient and therefore less costly. And then I also have folks that I work one-on-one in divorce coaching. So they want someone to come alongside. When they contact me, I am like a minimal cost compared to an attorney to ask
Sure.
questions. How does this process work? What can I expect in mediation? Or what happens with my 401k? All of those questions. I don't give legal advice because I'm not an attorney, but I can give you enough information and to provide some resources to you to get through that. And then finally, my support groups. So I conduct support groups for 10 weeks. We come together and we work through all of the emotions. We talk about the decisions that we have to make that are life altering decisions. And then we talk about acceptance. How do I accept going through this? And then the fourth and final stage is, how do I start moving forward after divorce?
I love what you do so much, and I know you, so I know you got a perfect heart for this, and as well as the knowledge and the communication skills to carry that through. But it reminds me, like I said, unfortunately, I had to go through a divorce many years ago, and I remember literally getting to the point that my ex-wife and I got on the phone together with both of our attorneys on a conference call and said, "You guys need to agree because we've already agreed, and you keep wanting to do meetings, and you keep wanting to charge us, and we've already decided." Had we known something like your services existed, I can only imagine how much less stress we would have had through that process, how much easier it would have been on the rest of the family, and not to mention the amount of money we would have saved because, again, literally, we get to get our attorneys on a call and pay them to tell them, we've already told you what we want, just make it happen. And so I love that you got that service and the ability to provide that value to families that are going through that. Let me ask you, Kathey, if somebody's, in that sad situation where they're going through a divorce and it's going to happen, what's the best way for them to reach out to gain information and to learn what their options are?
Well, I will give them a 1 hour consult at no cost. So
Oh,
if they want
wow.
to sit down with me, whether it's on phone or Zoom or in person, if you're in the Grand Rapids area, and let's just talk about where you're at and what you need to move forward. So we have that consult and then we decide where that person wants to go or needs to go from there. A lot of people say, okay, that hour helped me. I'm on my feet now and I think
Yep.
I know what to do. And that's fine. But my goal, Jonathan, is for people not to be as alone as I felt as I went through my divorce 26, 25 years ago. And not only for them not to be alone, but not to be in a situation like you and your former wife were, where you're dictating to the attorneys when the two of you can agree. There is so much that people can work through on their own. Maybe not everything, but if you come together, and a lot of them I do without attorneys,
Hmm.
and I tell them, don't sign this agreement, take it to your attorney, because again, I don't want any surprises for you. But we'll come together and we'll do this on their own. It's like, I already know I'm going to give you half of the equity of the home. I already know that we have to split the 401k. We already have a parenting plan. So all we need to do is get that into writing. It's called an agreement. And when you sign it, it is legally binding. But that's why I say don't sign it. We've come to this agreement. Now, each of you go to a different attorney, your own attorney, and go through this document. And they will point out where are the liabilities, where are the vulnerabilities, tax implications, and all of those things. That is a beautiful way to use an attorney. But don't show up in this frantic, and so many people do this, or getting a divorce and run into an attorney's office and throw everything on him. There
Mm.
is work that you can do on your own to prepare for your first visit with your attorney.
So, Kathey, I'm really intrigued, and I know part of the story because we've chatted over the years, but tell our audience, how did you get started in this process? How did you find out about it, and how did you get started in it?
Yeah, thank you for asking. Well, many years ago, about 18 years ago, I was sitting in my Sunday school class or whatever it was at church, and someone came in and said, "We are looking for single people who want to get involved in the ministry of divorce support." And so I was intrigued and I went into it and I got trained and I started doing it 18 years ago. And then as I was doing it, I heard this mediation. I thought, now what is that? So I went and got trained in that. And that's a process of you have to observe for a while, you have to be approved, and then you're court appointed, which I am, and that
Hmm.
allows to do mediation. So it really just snowballed. And then I decided, well, I wanted some resources. So, and I wanted a great website. So I contacted Valorous Circle to create my website. And so now I have 5 books on divorce, and it just continues to snowball. And I love doing what I do.
Well, it's very obvious, and I know you have an incredible heart for this as a ministry as well as for serving others, knowing you. And I just want to encourage anybody, if you're at that point in life and you're at that point where divorce is a reality, do yourself a favor, reach out and talk to Kathey and learn some of your options and understand what's there, because there's no risk in doing that. Am I correct? There's literally no risk in having a conversation.
Absolutely. Again, my first hour is free. The workbook is free download. I need your email address because it's too large of a file to send through Messenger. But if you can send me your email address, I will send that to you. We'll have a 1 hour consult, and then you decide where you want to go from there. If you want me to individually coach you, I can do that. If you want to go into a support group, which I always highly recommend, I've had people
Absolutely.
years after divorce that come in and say, you know what, I have not gotten over the trauma that has happened to me, and I need to process this. And that's what we do in the groups.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Kathey, if somebody's interested and they want to reach out, last question I've got is, can you work outside of Michigan, or you work only in Michigan, or who do you work with?
I work outside of Michigan. In fact, I've had some that are out of the country. Now, again, I'm very cautious. I don't give legal advice to begin with, but I
Sure.
have to check with their local resources because the laws are different really in every state and sometimes in every county. So we need to make sure that this fits wherever they are. But yeah, I have. In fact, I just had a client today out of Montana that I work with. So all over the country, because wherever you are, you need to process what's going on in your mind and heart.
Absolutely. And if they want to reach out, Kathey, what's the best way for them to reach out and contact you?
You can find me, I'm pretty easy. I have a YouTube channel, Kathey Batey, under my name. I also have Divorce Support Anonymous, a page on Facebook, and also a group. You can find me on LinkedIn. So if you just put in my name and you spell it correctly, you'll find me.
That's awesome. Well, and again, I want to encourage you, if you're at that spot in life and where things are at, it happens. It's happened to both Kathey and I in the past. And I really want to encourage you, as someone who knows Kathey, and I don't know exactly how long, Kathey, but I bet we've known each other somewhere between 6 and 8 years. So a long time. Served on some boards with Kathey over the years, and she's got a great heart. She's a great communicator. I just want to encourage you, if you're at that spot, do yourself and your family, especially your kids, a favor, and reach out and have a conversation with Kathey. I am confident it'll be more than worth your time. So, Kathey, I want to thank you for joining us today. It's so great to chat with you after a while that we haven't again. It's amazing, when we both stepped off the last board we were on, life happens and we don't chat as often. So I'm really thankful that we were able to connect again. Any last words for our audience?
Oh, thank you very much, Jonathan, for doing this and for allowing me to talk about my business. That is one of the challenges, is getting the word out about my work, so that people are, again, not jumping into the attorney's office and they're not going through this alone. I'm not bashing attorneys. You'll need an attorney, but how do you use them? How do you empower yourself? Do what you can first to minimize the damage and the financial liability that comes with going through divorce.
Well, I love it, and we're happy to promote your business. And just a reminder, if you're watching us or watching the replay, and you're like, "What is this 91-day business spotlight live?" I started this just over 2 weeks ago, and we're running for 91 days. And every weekday, we're interviewing 2 to 3 businesses. No obligation, no sales pitch from me. Just chances, Kathey did so eloquently today, to share what she does and increase the exposure for your company. So if you're interested, comment down below, and I'll get you the links. We can chat and get you set up. We are almost booked for over half of the 130 sessions already, but we've still got about half to go. So let us know how we can help you. Kathey, thank you again. Everyone, thanks for watching, and make it an amazing day. We will be in touch with everyone soon, and we'll see you actually in about an hour with another live session. So